So, before we start, like I said, we'll just wait a few more minutes. I'd like to thank my lovely assistant, Michelle, who is operating the camera today. But as we all know, it's not just about ourselves, it's about the team that supports us. So she is a new artist in our training program. She's about to be on the floor full time, and she is a star to be reckoned with in this industry. So she is one of those that always says yes, and she's a great help. So I do appreciate you, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you.
So for today, we're going to do a few things. But let me just get started with a little bit of a party. Okay? And I know that I still have to introduce myself and tell you exactly what we're doing. But like I said, while we're waiting, I'm just going to go ahead and start this. Start?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's the first one. All right. Let me go ahead and get this one situated. And then we'll start. I'm going to get back to business. So you can see I'm making these offset or semicircle partings. Coming off of the offset part. I'm just really isolating this top. Cool. So, my name is Chris Guidry, and I was asked by Ornco to come and demo a haircut for you guys. So I absolutely appreciate the opportunity that Ornco has given me today. I live in New Orleans. I have been doing hair since 1996, I want to say. And I work for the Neal Corporation. The Neal Corporation is a distributor of Aveda products, and we distribute to about 13 states in America. We also have a handful of beauty schools, and we have 9 salons and barbershops, all in Louisiana. So the name of our salons, our salon division is Salon Paris Parker. So I work at one of those, and I have been employed and working there for right around 20 years. So I am also a global ambassador for Wings, which I think they make great scissors, and I truly appreciate working with those guys. So, again, I was wondering how I was going to, incorporate Ornco being a brand and Neal Corporation representing or selling a brand. But I think it's awesome because everyone that I talk to about, well, I work for this company and we sell this product and that's another company, and everyone was like, just get up there and share, and I think it's really great that our industry has gotten to a point to where it's really about hair and it's really about the craft of hairdressing. So with that being said, I want to again thank Ornco and Neal Corporation for allowing this to occur. It's really, really great. I'm coming to you today from Studio 633 in New Orleans. It's actually set on top of one of our Paris Parker locations. and it's in the heart of downtown New Orleans. So if you hear a rattle, it's not the building, it is a streetcar that is actually passing by. So if I'm talking and I start to hear the streetcar, I will stop talking and let it pass, because sometimes it gets a little loud. So anyway, with that being said, let's get to cutting. So if you notice, let me see, I'm taking my lady, and I gave her an offset part, right? Down the center, perfectly symmetric would be a little too easy. So this is a little bit more real time, I think, the offset part. And I made some semicircle sections. Now, the right side is going to be a bigger section, whereas the left side is going to be a smaller section. And my semicircle partings, I don't want to go below the parietal ridge, and I don't want to go below the occipital bone, okay? So I'm going to really focus on layering throughout the top, and then I'm going to also layer in the back here, which will incorporate the front, and then we're going to do a little fringe work as well, okay? So with that being said, again, we're going to do flat layers in the back, and we're going to do some undercutting on the side, on the sides here. I really wanted to play with the undercut because, again, I've been cutting hair since 1996, and we used to undercut hair for a reason. And the reason was to flatten or to eliminate weight. And when you do that, the hair tends to fall or react in a different way that it normally does. And so for years, we have been working and just cutting shapes into curly hair. And so what I wanted to do today, again, trying to do something different and a little challenging, was to undercut in a way to where you can't tell that it's undercut, and it does eliminate some of the weight. So I decided to, again, take my offset partings, and what I'm going to do here, come see Michelle, is I'm going to isolate by taking another semicircle. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Like so. So now we have a oblong or football shaped section. With this little bit here that is left over. Okay? So we're going to isolate that as well. I'm going to repeat this parting on the other side. So it's not going to match because the density does not match. The density is different because of where it's located on the head, right? And the offset part dictates that. I'm going to do the same approach. It's just not going to be quite as big. Okay? So the good thing about today is that I have a mannequin that is already done. So when we finish this, you do not have to sit there and endure me blow drying, right? But we will talk about all the products, how to use them, when to use them, and how to get the final shape that we want, or the desired outcome that we want. So again, same parting as we did on the right hand side, just a little bit smaller because of where it is on the head shape, or on the head. Cool? So, 2 semicircles divided into 2, almost creating a more of an oblong shape underneath. Next, we're going to isolate our fringe area. And we're going to go right to the corner of her eyebrows. This area is also fun because this is where you have the freedom, right? So if the lady likes long fringe, we can leave it long and we can incorporate it into the sides. If she wants it cut shorter, then we can certainly cut it shorter, but it is going to be disconnected from the layers up front. And in this instance, it's going to be disconnected from the side panels as well. So, with that being said, I'm going to start in this back section. And my intention is I'm going to cut square or flat layers, okay? So the good thing about flat layering is it's going to eliminate some of this bulk here, okay? So my intention with the undercut, this is going to be one part that's undercut, is I'm going to cut these flat layers here to where these layers fall on top, okay? So I want this like soft, diffused end result, okay? So when cutting square or flat layers, first we want to make sure that our lady is evenly damp. So just a little water. I'm going to grab my scissors, wings, of course, wings. I'm going to lift my head just a little bit. So, center section. I'm going to pull it straight out at 90 from the head. You can see it's 90, right here. Again, I know that I want to make sure that this is short, and this section here hangs over, right? So again, undercut. So I need to make sure that my work matches my desired outcome, right? So I'm going to stand here, lower her just a smidge. Okay. So I just got to make sure that this covers that. Just a little, but it needs to cover it. So again, flat layers, I know that I'm going to go 90 from the head until I reach the round of the head. At that point, I'm going to become, my guide is going to become stationary. So I am cutting a square line or layer from the back of the head, okay? So I'm going to take the next section, the traveling guide, straight out at 90. Remove that hair. this point I'll cross check just to make sure. Clean up any little bits. Take my next section and incorporate my previous. Straight out. And remove. So if you notice, what I do is I'll cut the section and then I'll go back around behind her, directly behind her, and then that way I can judge exactly where the head's starting to round. So now the head is rounding, so I know that I need to stop and make my previous a stationary guide. So, again, standing behind her, go ahead, cross-check, making sure everything matches. Remove that little bitty bit, just to clean it up, and continue on. So with this side, I'm going to go and bring all of this back. So I'm going to incorporate the front, the sides, and the back all together. So I'm going to do this on this side, and I will do it on the other side as well. Now, you may notice that I did not cut my perimeter first. In the salon, I work in the salon 1 week I'll work in the salon 4 days a week, and the next week I'll work in the salon 3 days a week. So I am actually a behind the chair hairdresser, okay? And I have clients, and I do clients. And so, what was I going to say?
You're not just behind the chair?
Yeah, so I am behind the chair, and I work on photo shoots for the company, but I also have to build a book and keep a book and maintain a book. So I'm always in search of new, fresh perspectives on haircutting and new, fresh perspectives on styling. Just trying to keep my guests engaged and new guests coming in. So I do think this live streaming is really cool because it gives everyone a great opportunity for resources, either inspiration, when you work, or what have you. But I really think it's a great platform, especially in this day and age. Something else that I do, or don't do, I should say, in the salon, and you'll notice that weight is going to shift and get longer in this triangular shape. One thing that I also don't do in the salon is I never cut my perimeter first when I'm cutting layers. I always cut my layers first, see how they fall, see how they react, and then I will commit to the length. I know in this haircut that I want to leave this length right around here, right around the base of her neck, right? So, and I'm going to go in and freehand this perimeter later, okay? So, flat layers, everything out 90 from the head till it gets to the round, all of that becomes, then that last section becomes stationary, all of this is over directed to that section. Same thing on this side. Stand back, 90 from the head. Take one more section, I'll check, make sure it's even. I'm gonna go in and cross-check and make sure that both sides are matching up, telling the same story. My head is starting to round, so my previous becomes stationary. Just going to continue to travel to the front of the head. Bringing everything back and cutting flat. So, as far as products go, my approach is prep, style, finish, okay? So what I mean by that is, what is my prep? How do I prep the hair, right? The way that I prep the hair is I use the shampoo to clean it. Then we use a conditioner to soften the hair, deliver protein, moisture, whatever. Do we need a regular conditioner or do we need a mask, right? So my prep is my shampoo and my conditioner. My style is what products am I going to use to best help me get the desired style, right? So is it a mousse? Is it a wax, or not a wax? Is it a mousse? Is it a gel? Is it a volumizer, right? And then my finish is going to be, is it a hairspray or is it Badlands paste, right? So my prep is going to be shampoo, conditioner. My style is going to be my styling products, right? And then my finish is going to be how I choose to finish the hair. What products do I put in to finish the hair? So, and we'll go back to the products in a second. You can see how that flat layer is starting to collapse the shape, right? You can also see how it is incorporated throughout, from the back to the front, right? The reason we're doing this is because people tend to be a lot more heavy in the back and a lot more shallow in the front. And with wavy hair, especially on this mannequin, you can see through it, she's pretty shallow. I didn't want to go through and take any of this out yet, okay? If she was really dense, really thick throughout the front, then I would probably go through and eliminate some of this, probably by doing simple face framing and bringing all of that forward. So then it would just go back and forth, right? So, but in this instance, we're just gonna focus on the back, okay? Let's cut her fringe. So I'm just gonna dampen her again. What I want for her fringe, something that is loose to go with the rest of the hair. And I want it loose, and I want it to have plenty of movement. Now you can see this is where she parts her hair, right? So currently, we're just gonna work in this front section, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it shorter here to longer this way, okay? Because I want this longer bit in the center to have the ability to move and to swing. And I want this corner here to be shorter, so this has a place to swing, and when it does swing, this is nice and shallow, okay? So we're gonna basically eliminate that corner, and we're gonna leave the length in the front, okay? because I want it to move and I want it to have the freedom to move. So, I'm going to go through just like so. Right? Now I'm going to cut it shorter here. Right? Just right down the hair shaft. So you'll see that we have plenty of hair left in the center for movement. Now, as I go up the head, my elevation is going to shift. Okay? Now, I'm shifting my elevation because I want a softer, lighter fringe. These scissors cut right through that hair. So nice. Right? And so, because of the elevation, you get a softer, lighter line. The same thing on this side, on this section I should say. Again, shift my elevation a little bit higher than the previous, and it'll help with the weight distribution. If I move this out the way, you should see what we were wanting. Longer here, shorter there, the ability for this to still move and swing over. Okay? Cool? So, we'll go over to the other side of the fringe, and we will notice that because of the offset part, we're only going to do, we have a little bit of hair, so we're only going to do 2 sections. So being that this is not a graduated bob, it doesn't have to necessarily perfectly match, but I do want it to visually match, okay? So I'm just going to use my previous as a guide just to get a visual match, okay? But again, shorter in the corner, longer towards the nose, okay? So now I'm going to go in and cut in the same manner. Releasing some of that unnecessary length in the fringe. So, same thing, just go through, channel cut some of that out. Again, you can see what it's doing. You can see how if you eliminate that weight in the back, this has a place to move. Okay? So far, we've done flat layers in the back, and we've cut our fringe, right? Easy. This is where it's not hard, but this is where it gets fun, right? And if you think about what we do for a living, especially in these crazy ass times that we live in, having fun isn't always easy to come across. But we're able to not only have fun, but dictate the fun that we have. So that's another reason that hairdressing is a great, great career choice. It's not the easiest, but it certainly is fun, and we're in control of it. So, for the sides, for the top here, what we're going to work on is this first panel, okay? Can you see it, Michelle?
Mm-hmm.
So for this panel, we're going to take a horizontal section here. I'm going to pull it up 90 from the head, and we're going to cut a square line, okay? And then we're going to take all of these sections in this parting and over direct. So we're going to cut a concave shape, okay, due to over direction. And what that's going to do is it's going to shallow or make this a little bit more shallow throughout here, okay? So we're going to undercut it, but we're not shaving some crazy line in it. We're not shaving it to the head. We're just going to eliminate a lot of this weight and a lot of this length so this next section can fall over and live on top, okay? So when cutting this section, we want to make sure that our first section that we cut, because of the over direction, this piece is going to be our shortest, and this last piece, because of over direction, is going to be our longest, right? And when it unfolds, it's going to do this, right? We need to make sure that this shortest piece is around the occipital bone. If it is too short, it just pops way up, okay? So, all we do is we take a horizontal section, like this, straight up from the head, right? Measure if you need to. And remember, the lady's going to wear her hair wavy. So if it's going to be wavy, this is going to have some spring in it, okay? So it is going to pop up. So leaving it on the longer side might be easier the first time, just to make sure, okay? Take our next section, and like I said, we're just going to over direct to our first. Okay? Seeing the over direction. We're going to take another section, very, very small. We're not in a hurry. Making sure to comb all the way from the scalp, just like they taught us in Cosmo School. Right? Over direct, eliminate. Do we have any questions?
So far, no.
No? Nothing? Either means no one's watching or I'm just answering all the questions as we go, right?
You're doing a pretty good job explaining. You're good.
Okay, so again, back to the original. Making sure to over direct and to comb clean. All right. And when we finish this section, I will show you what it does. But it's basically going to create a pocket for this next section to live in. So this is, I've done this several times on people, and it's had varying degrees of greatness, but it's always really worked. So again, it's learning, you know. Unfortunately, you know, you have to, your clients sometimes are the guinea pigs, but if you feel confident in what you're doing and you're experienced and knowledgeable with the head shape, the density, you should be fine. And if not, then get you a mannequin, try on a mannequin, perfect it on a mannequin, and then do it on a client. But I know, because of the head shape, that I will be good with my technique. So, if you notice, my longest layer goes beyond the parietal ridge, right? So you can see show you. how it collapses on the corner, right? Right through here. Collapses right there for us, okay? The good thing is, being that we didn't go below the occipital, the parietal ridge, I'm sorry, we still have density on side of the head and in front of the head, okay? So, we're going to save this top until we do the other side, okay? So, take the next section. Separate the two. Again, we're going to work in our little oblong football section, okay? So, going back to prep style finish, right? Again, horizontal section, right? Pull it straight up. It needs to clear the parietal ridge, right? And eliminate. Okay? So, for my prep, my shampoo and my conditioner, I use the Cassette Curl shampoo and the Cassette Curl conditioner. Okay? The way that they formulate these curly products now is really fantastic. They're so light, that it allows the curl to do what it's supposed to do. And I really love that about the products these days. Again, whenever I first started, people were like, don't condition my hair because it was so heavy, you know, or don't make my hair curly because it was so heavy and goopy, and the curls weren't ever able to be curls. And now with technology, science, curly hair products are fantastic. So if you don't do a lot of curly hair work, I would encourage you to start because the technology is certainly there.
We have a question from Tanya.
Okay?
Would you consider this a shag?
No.
No?
No. No, I would not. I would not. I would consider this cutting to suit my client's needs and trying to eliminate bulk in certain spots while saving length in other spots. So a shag, I would not consider this a shag. Right? So you should be able to see where that weight is going here, right? And you should be able to recognize the weight is going here as well. Okay? So, what's left is we still have to cut our perimeter, and we have to do something with this top, right? So we're going to cut this top. So, with the top being left, we're going to cut the light side first, or my lady's left side first. Okay? And what I'm going to do, again, we're going to release the weight and let these curls be curls, okay? So the one thing I don't like in curly hair is a lot of uniformity. So we're going to cut each section at a different length, okay? So I'm going to turn her to the side for you. A little bit more. So to start, I'm going to start in the front, okay? And I'm going to start in the front, and I'm going to take horizontal sections, I'm going to pull it up at 90, and I'm going to cut it, and I'll show you that. And I'm going to do that till it starts to get to about the crown or the round of the head, right? So whenever it starts to go backwards, I'm going to start in the back, and I'm going to go from the front to the center and the back to the center, okay? So I'm going to take a horizontal section, pull it straight up from the head, okay? Now, Michelle, come stand over here for me. So if you notice, we have layers here, right? That undercut that we cut. We have our length here, and we have our fringe here, okay? So with this, we want some of this to cover, right? But at the same time, some of this can be short, okay? Because we want an explosion of curls, okay? Or a randomness of curls, okay? Or waves. So, what I do in this section that I'm holding is not going to be the same thing that I do in this section in terms of length, okay? I'm going to take my section straight up, and I'm going to cut just like so. And then this one, I might leave it long. And then this one, I might do it short. Okay? So now when this falls, or lays, now we have that. Okay? So again, horizontal section, standing in front of your lady, straight up from the head. Now this side, I'm going to leave long. This one I'll cut short. And this one will be that, whatever that is. Right? So now we're starting to get it to where this hair really starts to move around. So the good thing about this technique is it really allows you to customize the weight distribution and the length to suit your want, your need, your client's needs, okay? So, and the reason I separate the two is sometimes the client is in charge and sometimes the hairdresser's in charge. So, just going to go up and slowly remove that hair, okay? Again, now we're really starting to see some of that movement. Cool? So I reached the crown of the head, so now I'm going to come in the back, okay? So typically, we get all of this at 90, so typically you would think that this would be at 90. But I'm going to over-direct all of this up, okay, to make sure that I'm saving length to cover my layers that I created in the back, okay? Being that I'm elevating this hair, it's going to be a soft, when it falls, it's going to be softer. If I was to cut it like this, it would be a bit heavy. So I want to, A, lift it to save the length, and B, lift it to create softness, okay? So here, I might want to be on the longer side to make sure that I have enough coverage back in the back. And you see, it's covering. Take my next section. Again, straight up to the ceiling. So, prep style finish, once again. Eventually I'll finish this. My prep is my cassette curl shampoo and conditioner. My style is going to be the one prep spray. The great thing about the one prep spray is it helps your styling products adhere evenly to the head, to the hair, I'm sorry. Well, that's a great feature. But the thing that I like most about the product is the next day, it's a great refreshing spray. So your client can use it to refresh her hair on the following day. Right? So she doesn't have to rinse it or shampoo it, start all over with the process, right? Everything is so fast these days. If we could help them eliminate time spent blow drying their hair and still looking great, that will go a long way with our guests. So we finished that top side, right? And you can see how these curls are just really supporting each other, right? So I didn't run my fingers through it, I didn't run my comb through it, I didn't do anything like that, okay? So, the style, the one prep spray is what we used, okay? The second thing that we used for our styling portion of the haircut is the Aircraft Mousse, okay? The thing that I love most about the Aircraft Mousse is I love mousse in general, but I really love the fact that this mousse gives it that second day tousled, lived in feel. So that is my style anyway, and that is certainly a current thing that we have been seeing in hair for a really long time. So that's why I love that mousse. So going back to the haircut, our left side and our right side does not have to match. We do not want it to match. It shouldn't match, right? So making sure, again, to pull it straight up from the head, we're going to cut one side, one piece a little short, one piece a little long, the other piece we can do whatever we want with that. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to measure, and we don't want to we want to make sure that our pieces do not match, because that helps the erraticness appear. Okay? Tousled, broken, individual, those are all words that come to mind when I think about what I want this hairstyle to look like. Okay? So finish with the top. Go to the behind the lady, to the back portion. And again, horizontal sections, elevating up to the ceiling, making sure that our pieces are long enough to cover the layers that we cut earlier in the back. Same thing here, right to the ceiling. Drop it over. And to finish the style, we're going to use the Badlands paste. The great thing about Badlands is it has the effect of dry shampoo mixed with a paste or a waxy kind of feel. So it's like 2 for 1 with that product. Really, really cool. And then of course the finish, the moon landing, because of its anti-frizz, anti-humidity properties. Again, I live in the South, in New Orleans. I love my city. I love the people I work with. But we do have a humidity problem. So anything that will help combat that is always a good thing. So if you notice, some of these bits are going to be long, and some of them are not going to fit in. I am okay with that. That is what I want, okay? So, this is our desired or our finished product, right? Now you can see that it has the ability to get some lift if you want. It also has the ability to lay flat if you want. Again, with the fringe, we have the ability, because we left that length, to kind of swing over or to be incorporated into the sides, right? So what we have left to do is our perimeter. So with the perimeter, all I'm going to do is really just freehand this front to match the back, okay? So I like a soft, broken perimeter. I think it looks a lot more natural, especially in wavy hair. I mean, I love a good bob line, don't get me wrong. A good, strong, solid bob line. But if I can have loose, soft, broken pieces, I will take that all day long. So I'm just going to go through and visually cut my perimeter. She'll just follow me around. I'm just going to go through and clean up all of these little bits and pieces. So we did a little technical work. And we did a little visual work. And I think that speaks to the modern day haircut. I think it's about knowing your techniques, knowing your desired outcome, but then at the same time, I think it allows you the flexibility to create something that is special and unique for you and your guest. So gone are the days of you have to do it this way. Which those days are sorely missed in some regards. But it is today more about a collaboration between the guest and the hairstylist, which is really cool. Cool? So, now that she's cut, get my wide tooth comb. I'm going to dampen her again. Just really trying to get it even. Perfect, okay? So now, my one prep spray, right? So I really want that product to stick, okay? So I'm going to apply the product with my hands. Apply the product with my hands. And comb it through, okay? And once that is combed through, and the moisture feels consistent, right? Then I will take my aircraft mousse, right? apply it in sections. So I'm going to apply this front section. Do a little bit in the back. It's a great sound. It's kind of like when champagne pops. Do this whole back section here. Make sure that we get it all throughout. Again, this front section. Making sure to get it at the roots. We're going to comb it through to make sure that we get it all throughout the ends. And just because it's Wednesday, we're going to put a little bit more in. Because who doesn't love mousse on a Wednesday? All right? So we'll get it all throughout. Get our comb. Comb it. Comb it all throughout. And make sure you should be able to feel it on the hair at this point. Next, we need to make sure that we have some sort of pins. We got to make sure that we have some sort of blow dryer, whether it's a little roundabout thing or a hooded dryer or a diffuser. But we should all have all the necessary equipment that we need to deal with waves. There's so many hairstylists that I know that are like, I don't even own a diffuser. I'm like, you do hair for a living. How can you not own a diffuser? You know? So if you don't own a diffuser, I would strongly suggest that you go and purchase one. They have the baskets, and they also have the sock diffusers. I really like the sock diffuser. Another good thing for curly hair is a wide tooth comb. Right? So I'm going to get the hair in place, how I want it to look, right? Do I want it off of her face? Do I want it towards her face, right? Do I want it open up a little bit off her face, right? And same thing with this side. I know that I want some of this in her face, right? So I'm going to start to set the hair. And I start to set it by placing it like I want it to look, okay? So I have these little clips that I love. I got these in Paris years and years and years ago. And now Sheer World started to sell them, which is a great thing because now you can get them in America. So I get these little clips and I go in vertically. I grab the section of hair, right? I almost really just let it talk to me and tell me which one you want me to pick up, right? So this piece, I want it to be have a little, not necessarily lift, right? We're not trying to make anything, we don't want her to look like a country and western singer, for God's sake. We just want a little lift. It also helps to separate so the air gets in there and dries it faster, okay? But we're creating a set, so we're putting it in place to be set, okay? So same thing here. This is a great thing for your clients to do in the morning time. So they can set the hair and then they can go ahead with their morning chores while their hair dries in place and then finish with the diffuser before they walk out of the building or their house, right? So their drying time can be greatly reduced if they just set their hair and then finish it with the diffuser at the end, okay? So, to recap, we cut flat layers in the back, right? We cut our layers throughout the top. We use our over direction to create that empty, shallow space, right? We cut our other pieces throughout the top at different lengths to create the erraticness. And then we cut our fringe, right? We cut them from shorter in the corners to longer towards the nose to create a little bit more movement and allowing the hair to move, creating that separation, okay? So, like I said, I'm not going to diffuse the hair because I already did that. So let me take her off. Bring her out, and you can see she still has the clips in her hair, okay? So we diffuse this probably about 90% of the way dry, okay? And I usually do curly hair to about 95 to 100% dry because I really want the product and the curls to interact, and I want the product to do what it's supposed to do. The product is supposed to set the hair, right? And give it the hold or the shine that it's supposed to do. So now you can see, I'm gonna put a little air to it. And I'm just gonna scrunch it, right? And that'll just go in and help break up that look of product, okay? So again, the only thing we have in it right now is the one prep spray and the aircraft mousse. So as you see, once you go through and you start breaking up and softening that product, the hair really comes to life. The good thing about curls is if you let that product do what it's supposed to do and you don't touch it too premature, you can really play with curls all day long without having to worry about frizz. So once it's dry and you take that sticky product look away, then you can really start to have fun with it and let the personality of the guest come out. Right? So, I always put a little air in the curls because I want them to look a little bit worn and not so fresh out of the salon. Right? Once you're finished with that, then you can take a little bit of your Badlands paste. Right? This stuff's wicked, by the way. Ornco, if you want to send me a t-shirt, I would wear it all the time. One that said Badlands. Because it really is a cool product. So, put it in your hands, you emulsify it, and you can see the shine. You can feel the grit and the hold that it provides. And then you go through and really, again, scrunch that product into the hair and separate some of that. So what you're trying to do is get that hair to separate from itself. Because you want to be able to see through it, and you want to see the erraticness of the curls. So this is the moon landing spray. It's a flexible hold. Boom. Beautiful product. Again, this is my finished result. Michelle will take you around. She'll show you the back and the sides. I hope that you love it. I hope that you use it. And I hope that if nothing else, you at least attempt it and play with it and get some ideas and some inspiration. Again, my name's Chris Guidry. Chris Guidry does hair on Instagram. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to me. Big thanks to the Neal Corporation, Ornco, wings. Get you some wings. You got to get you some wings, some 4.5s. These are great. Paris Parker Salons, all my friends and family, and of course, Mr. Adam Federico for setting all this up. Thank you so much. Cheers.